Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brendan, and I hope all of you guys are having a great day no matter where you are from. And there's a key trend that has been happening in crypto over the past year or so that has finally flipped. And so what this is over the last year, we've seen a lot of previous support levels turn into resistance for Bitcoin. And now we're seeing the exact opposite happen. So instead of testing some of these previous support levels here, like we saw as resistance here, we are now starting to turn around and test these prior resistance levels as support. And that's exactly what crypto is doing in this most recent pullback. So today I want to spend the bulk of the video talking about how this pullback could actually be a bullish thing for not only Bitcoin, but a lot of the altcoins as well, and go over the fundamental news that is getting overshadowed by this very, very small pullback of around 5 to 10%. Now, if you've been in crypto for any amount of time, you would know that a pullback like we are seeing right here, I mean, even measuring from the absolute top to where we're currently priced at, Bitcoin's only down about 7.5%. And there's already these bearish videos about like the top is in and stuff like that getting published when it's very silly. I mean, we've seen this in an hourly candle, let alone in a weekly candle. So this is nothing too serious for crypto. But as I mentioned earlier, with crypto pulling back here, again, the bulk, and I really want to kind of highlight this, the bulk of the last year's theme has been testing prior support as newfound resistance. And that's what we saw with all of these white trend lines in here. All of those are great examples of this. Again, we broke down, tested support, previous support now turned resistance, next breakdown, previous support turned resistance, and the cycle just continued and continued, all the way down to where we bottomed out at around $15,000. So now we're looking and saying, hey, Bitcoin is falling and this has to be a bad thing, right? Well, the answer I would say is no, because instead of testing previous support as resistance, we're testing previous resistance as newfound support. And so that's what we're looking to accomplish here with Bitcoin's most recent pullback, is it had this big prior support now turn resistance area where it rejected for almost a month before seeing this breakout. And so now we have seen the breakthrough of resistance, and we're seeing the retest of that resistance, hopefully as a support, which can ultimately lead price higher to $33,000 and maybe even $35,000, $36,000. So those are the big areas that I'm watching out for. And again, we'll show what Ethereum looks like as well here in the total too. But as this is happening, just kind of recognize that there is a pattern that is being reversed. And it would make sense that if we're going from a bull market, or excuse me, from a bear market to a bull market, this is the kind of thing that we should be wanting to see. So again, don't be too bearish about this pullback. Support hasn't even broken yet. And even if support does break here, there are plenty of supports to be seen across this chart, like the 20, the 50, the 200-day moving average. You also have the 200-week moving average, several different support lines. There's a lot of stuff that's happening here behind the scenes. And again, despite a pullback happening, I think this could be a really, really healthy thing for crypto so that we don't go parabolic and set up a lack of support that we can retest on the way back down. Now, the exact same concept is happening over here on the total 2. For the last 7 or so months, the total 2 has had this big old resistance line. It's tried to test it a number of times, but it has failed every time that it's tried to break out of this zone, with the exception being last week. So last week it broke out of this area, and what do you know? Similar to Bitcoin, it's falling back to the very resistance that it broke out of last week to hopefully retest it as a support area. This is a very common theme in technical analysis, to kind of see this break, hook, and go, as I like to call it, pattern. And all that means is that we see the breakout of a resistance, the retest or the hook of it as a newfound support, and then the go, which is the signaling afterwards, signaling that we again have conquered this level. So with the total 2, which is the representation of altcoins, seeing a very similar chart to Bitcoin, is this kind of the idea that maybe both Bitcoin and altcoins can run, with the favor being in altcoins? Because we've talked about Bitcoin dominance as well, and I want to go to btc.d here to kind of show this, that if Bitcoin dominance gets below this zone that we have of around 47 to 46, then Bitcoin dominance could fall, leading to a very nice altcoin rally. Now, does this mean that Bitcoin has to fall in price? No. All it means is that Bitcoin may go up 5% And if altcoins go up 10% or 8%, then altcoins are gaining strength in comparison to Bitcoin, despite both assets gaining percentage value or price value. So this is one of the big things that I kind of just want to, again, reset everyone's sight to here, because despite there being a little bit more of a bearish narrative for whatever reason, there is a lot of evidence to show that this pullback could actually be a very healthy and bullish thing for both Bitcoin and the altcoins alike. Again, we see both of them coming to key support levels, and even if this one breaks, there are numerous supports below where Bitcoin is currently priced at. So I want to go ahead and move our attention now to some of the bullish fundamental news. And let's start off with Hong Kong, and we'll get into Gensler in just a second. But with Hong Kong recognizing crypto as property, this is a big move. Now, why is this a big move? Because, and I want to kind of go to this part right here, the confirmation that holdings of cryptocurrencies constitute quote-unquote property that is on par with other tangible assets such as stocks and shares. So when it comes to labeling crypto in the same category as stocks and shares, crypto is now being seen in Hong Kong, a very large market. It's now being seen equal to that of stocks and shares. So these big asset classes, the traditional asset classes, when it's kind of saying, when is crypto going to be recognized as a mainstream product? Well, in Hong Kong, it's now kind of becoming the case that crypto is being seen as an almost traditional asset class. So this is big news, and it kind of begs the question, when is the rest of the world? And some countries already do recognize crypto as a very mainstream traditional asset class. And it kind of just is a matter of time until we see some of the big first world countries that most of us live in, like the United States or England or a lot of these other countries. When are they going to recognize crypto as this mainstream traditional asset class? Which leads me into my second article about Mr. Gensler, who has been one of the gatekeepers kind of preventing crypto from being its fullest self. And now, excuse me, he is standing in front of the SEC because of his crypto crackdown. And there has already been a bill that's introduced to actually kick Gensler out of office. So he's being tried in front of the SEC, or excuse me, in front of the House here, because of the way that he's been handling crypto. And there seems to be a little bit of a vendetta or bias here. And I believe he made a saying earlier, someone's going to have to fact check me on this, but I believe he made a statement earlier in this hearing saying like, oh, well, all the comments that I made were on my own behalf, not on behalf of the SEC, and you shouldn't take it like that. But you can't say that. As the head of the SEC, you can't go out and say all these things and be like, oh, well, the SEC doesn't think that, because he is the head of the SEC, right? I mean, it's just kind of a wild case to make, to be like, well, even though I hate crypto, it doesn't mean that the SEC hates crypto, when clearly it's the case that he's using the SEC to just, hammer on the crypto market. So, we could see Gensler either A, maybe he loses his position, which would be a good thing for crypto, or maybe he's forced to be a little less bearish on crypto, a little less hard, which would also be a good thing for crypto. So again, there's a lot happening behind the scenes here. I want to go ahead and wrap this video up by saying, again, there are a lot of things moving in the background that even if you don't see them, that's why I'm here to bring you all of the news and all of the technicals. So I hope everyone did enjoy today's video. If you did, make sure you smack that like button, smack that subscribe button, and I'll see all of you in tomorrow's video as well.